Hi everyone, and welcome to Booked Up, a TV show featuring the adult collection and programs at the Peters Township Public Library. I'm Diane, the circulation manager.
And I'm Mary, head cataloger. Happy anniversary, Diane.
Well, whose anniversary is it?
A year ago, we filmed our first show for community TV.
1 year. It seems more like 10.
Now, you're confusing us again with that other library TV show, Book Buzz. That one's been on TV for 10 years.
Linda and Shannon. You know, stop giving them free publicity.
Oh my God.
I'm sure they never mention us when they're on TV.
You have a shot from their show? They look like they're wearing space helmets or something. Well, last year at this time, we were talking about romance books because this is our Valentine's episode, and how they're not your mother's or grandmother's romance books anymore, and how a new generation of authors and readers, Gen X and the millennials, have created a resurgence in romance. And I'd like to tell you about a new subgenre in that category in fiction now. It's called romantasy.
Ooh.
Now, these kinds of books just had a general term. They weren't a thing like they are now. We called them fantasy romance or referred to them as romantic fantasy. And there weren't a lot of them in the library, but now publishers are starting to put out more, so we're getting more for the library.
So are they romance books in a fantasy setting, or are they fantasy books with some romance in them?
They can be both. But the prevailing opinion seems to be that they are romance books in a fantasy setting. And there's a lot of buzz about them in book world, so whether you're a librarian or a bookseller or the book readers themselves, the readers actually have the strongest opinion on what category they belong in.
So are you going to put a fantasy sticker or a romance sticker or both on the spine?
Well, we have a picture of it. Yay, fantasy and romance there, and you see how pretty those are. Our genre labels are very popular with our patrons because when they're scanning through the stacks, they can look for the title, look for the type of book much faster that they're interested in. We try to not put two labels on the spine at a time, and when I'm cataloging them, I look for a subject heading for either fantasy or romance. And if that information isn't available, I look at the author. You know, what are they known for? What have they written about before? Mostly fantasy or mostly romance? And then lastly, I look at the publisher, because some publishers only publish fantasy books and some only publish romance books. So it's an inexact science.
Yeah. Well, I guess ultimately it's up to the reader to decide what category it is once they're finished with it. And most don't care. They just want a good story.
Well, that's certainly true. So let's look at some popular titles for romantasy. Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. This is considered to be the first romantasy book, and I think that's actually debatable. But you remember this one, Diane?
We could not. The OG.
Yeah, TOG. We could not keep it in the library, and it had all the elements for romantasy. It had vampires, it had werewolves, it had romance.
And angsty teens.
Well, angsty teens are what actually helped sell it. I read that Stephanie Meyer made over $5 billion on the Twilight saga, because there were the sequels, there were the movies, and so on. But let's look at some newer titles in romantasy. Oh, here they are, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. Yeah. Fourth Wing is the first in the series by Rebecca Yarros, and Iron Flame is the one that's currently going out like crazy. It's the second book, and one of our work colleagues, I actually saw her reading a book and just, you know, fanning herself. She was on a very steamy part of the book.
Well, I just downloaded the Fourth Wing and I started listening to it, and it's pretty good. I haven't gotten to any of the steamy parts yet.
Well, get a fan.
I'm looking forward to it, though.
Get a fan ready, because your hand's going to be tired. And then a couple of familiar names here for fantasy, but now writing, being called this romantasy. Sarah Moss and Carissa Broadbent. Sarah Moss has, I think, more than one book series. So let's look at the next grouping. And we see familiar names here like Jennifer Armentrout and Carrie Maniscalco. And in our next grouping, a couple of new names for authors, Hashem and Guanzon. I haven't seen those before. I want to remind our viewers that if they are looking for titles, please go to Novelist Plus through our website. You go to electronic databases, click on Novelist Plus, and if you put in the search term romantasy, you will get many titles, ideas for books to read.
I know the Encyclopedia of Fairies, that is one that was really highly rated by the New York Times bestseller list, and it sounds really good. I'm looking forward to reading that one.
The second in the series is out already.
Well, if you've been in the library recently, you may have noticed some changes. Construction has begun on a new office space in the area where our TV series were located, and some new fiction shelving's been installed where our feature films used to be. Our entire Blu-ray DVD collection has moved upstairs to the area near the elevator.
I think they took some pictures. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, the makerspace, as you can see, has moved out of that area where the Blu-rays and DVDs are, and it's tucked into the old cafe space, which is perfect for it. It's a much more conducive place for holding classes. And our makerspace librarian, Sarah, is really busy in there. So when you're upstairs, pop up and see the makerspace and introduce yourself to Sarah.
Looking at some shots of what will be my new office.
Oh, much deserved. You've been waiting a long time for your own office, and that's where you're going to be found, hiding away from everybody.
That's right. I was a little concerned because I noticed that they were putting the lock on the outside of the door.
Yeah, more productivity that way.
We also have some beautiful new shelving upstairs for the DVDs, and the collection is much more accessible. During the transition, we took the opportunity to update our TV series collection. There are some popular streaming series that we get a lot of requests for. Unfortunately, they're not always available to purchase on DVD.
And there were some award-winning movies from previous years we haven't gotten yet, like Coda, which won the 2022 Best Picture. I still haven't seen it, want to see it, and the streaming services just aren't making these available, and that's a shame because many of our patrons can't afford to purchase streaming service subscriptions.
Right. I'm still hoping to get them. I check all the time, so eventually, hopefully, we'll be able to add them. However, I am really excited about the new shows that we were able to add. Let's take a look at some of them. So we have The Chosen, which is a historical series based on the life of Jesus. We've had several requests for that, and we do have seasons 1 through 3. Then The Boys, which was a Prime Video series. And we have season 1 of Reacher.
Oh, the Jack Reacher series by Lee Child. That's really popular in book form.
Yeah, it was really good. Season 2 streaming right now. I just binged that whole series last weekend when it was really cold, and it's really good. Also coming up, we have the entire series of The Expanse. That's seasons 1 through 6. That's an Amazon original that's set 200 years in the future when the solar system has been colonized. And Jack Ryan is another show that's based on a book series.
I got my Jacks mixed up too, and he looks very jacked as well.
Yes.
So Jack Ryan, that's a book series by Tom Clancy. And, you know, you can see John Krasinski, who used to be in The Office where he played Jim, the boy next door. Yeah. He doesn't really look like
He looks
the boy
pretty good.
Okay.
And if you're a fan of Disney Plus, we have Loki, and we got 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. Here are a few other TV series to look for on your next visit.
Oh, Grace and Frankie, that's funny. The first 2 seasons of that especially funny.
Yeah. That's a good one. And then we did get the first season of The Sandman.
Oh, Neil Gaiman's the author.
Yeah, and if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, you may like The Last Kingdom. We have the entire series of that as well. I forgot to add it to the slides, but we also got the first 2 seasons of Star Trek
and prosper.
Strange New Worlds. So speaking of strange, let's throw it over to our friends Sydney and Dani and see what's going on in adult programming.
Hello everyone, it is Sydney again with Adult Programs from the library. If you've been to a crafty program recently, you probably saw another face, Dani.
Hi everyone, I'm Dani. I'm sure you've seen me around the library over the past couple of years, but it was just this summer that I joined the Adult Services Department. Now I get to be a part of all the amazing adult programs the library has to offer.
Dani is a great addition to Adult Services. Aside from crafty programs, she also supports some larger events we have planned, and two of those large upcoming programs are the U.S. Army War College and the Volunteer Fair. On Thursday, February 8th, we will host officers from the U.S. Army War College in Carlisle, PA. Each officer will speak briefly on their work and expertise and how it is impacted by current security challenges at home and abroad. It will be followed by a Q&A with the audience. This presentation is in person at the library.
On Saturday, February 24th, we are having our second volunteer fair. So if you're looking for opportunities to give back to our community, come check it out. We have a full list of participating organizations on our event calendar.
Speaking of giving back, it's time for the annual Give Back to the Federal Government, aka taxes. This year, AARP Tax Aid is again providing free tax assistance to anyone free of charge with a focus on taxpayers who are 50 or over and have a low to moderate income. This program may not be for you if your return is complicated or out of scope. AARP volunteers are offering appointments every Monday and Wednesday beginning February 7th, so call the library or stop by to schedule your tax preparation session.
The library also provides a limited number of federal and state tax forms for the convenience of the community. As soon as tax forms and publications become available, they will be in the library lobby and upstairs near the reference desk, but quantities are limited.
A lot of folks may have taxes on their mind, but my head is full of birds.
That seems pretty normal for you. The dodo bird is what comes to mind. Just kidding. You know, I think you're awesome. Quacking myself up. Okay, I'll stop now. Let's roll the tape.
So in February, we are kicking off a winter reading challenge through Beanstack that will help you learn more about the great backyard bird count.
There is also a presentation about backyard birds by the Audubon Society on the 5th, and you can join me to make birdseed ornaments on the 10th. Registration is required for both of these events.
Some of us are already dreaming of warming weather and planning out our spring planting. So we have several upcoming gardening programs to help you grow in the upcoming months. The PTPL Seed Library is currently open and has been relocated to upstairs outside of the reading room.
The Washington County Master Gardeners will teach us about soil prep and vegetable garden basics in February. Chuck Oldenburg, a local member of the Orchid Society of Southwestern PA, will share information about caring for orchids on March 2nd.
And on March 4th, we are hosting North Carolina gardener extraordinaire Craig LaHoulier for a Bring Your Garden to the Sun talk about container and straw bale gardening. So Craig has written 2 books, which are upside down. They're right here. They're Epic Tomatoes, How to Select and Grow the Best Varieties, and then Growing Vegetables in Straw Bales. So these are going to be on display by the Seed Library upstairs. And we're also going to have Dr. Candy DeBerry back in early April with information about landscaping with native plants.
If you want to work on some inside projects at the library where it's nice and warm, we have a lot of upcoming events for you. Here's a look at all the fun and creative things the library has to offer. So on March 9th, we'll be doing these cute and springy moss bunnies. On March 4th and March 7th, we have the ever popular Pasonki egg classes. And then on the 21st, it's the Pasonki egg demo. We also have our Crafternoons the first Thursday of every month from 1 to 3 o'clock. Registration is not required. You just show up and come have some fun crafting with us. Also, on the second Thursday of the month from 6 to 7, we have our Crochet and Knitting Club where you can just stop by, relax, and socialize with all the other crocheters and knitters.
Our Technology Makerspace librarian, Sarah, also has a lot of classes using the equipment in the Makerspace. So some of the wonderful upcoming programs she has coming up, Dani's brought some examples for us to see.
Okay, so this is an example of the Cricut creation she has going on. This is the popular needle felting cute little birds. And then featuring one of our afternoon book club picks, evening book club picks, sorry, Sarah has used the 3D printer to make this cute little bookmark. The Makerspace is a very popular place and programs fill up quickly, so make sure to look ahead. You can find all upcoming programs listed in the events calendar on the PTPL website.
So if you're keeping count, we've already talked about 20 plus programs coming up, but if we were to quote Billy Mays here and say, but wait, there's more. Our next round of programs focuses on caring not only for your body, but also your mind.
We host a monthly Sit and Fit program, which is a gentle movement class for adults. On February 22nd, a representative from all of us will share information about the study of how your body reacts to certain medicines. Maureen Sirianni of Country Meadows will present Caring for the Caregivers in March. We are also planning to have some adult meditation and yoga programs starting in April.
Next, we have a few programs to help you get organized, starting with your personal story. Writing your life story was rescheduled from January, and that same day is also Organizing Your Photos workshop. We're also hosting a 4-part home downsizing series in March and April. March's topics are how to get started with downsizing and your children don't want it, so what do you do?
All right, I think that's it. No more.
Oh, Dani, you know better. There's a very large event coming up in April, and we have a few programs to help us get ready for the sun or lack thereof.
On March 20th, we are hosting a spring equinox program that is part history, part creation. We will explore spring celebrations throughout history and make a craft.
We have a solar viewing presentation at the library with the Amateur Astronomers Association of Pittsburgh on March 23rd. I thought it was 30th. It's sometimes towards the end of March. They will be at the library talking about the upcoming solar eclipse, and they'll also have telescopes set up outside where we'll be able to view the sun safely.
And that is all to get us ready for the eclipse. PTPL and PT Parks and Recreation are working together to host a solar eclipse watch party for the April 8th solar eclipse. Join us at Rolling Hills Park from 2 to 4 to play games and get your glasses for this event. Auntie Anne's Pretzel Truck will have snacks and beverages available for purchase. The library will not be passing out solar eclipse glasses before this event. Come to the park to receive your glasses on Monday, April 8th.
Although we are not in the totality for this event, our area will be able to view the sun as it's 97% eclipsed by the moon at its peak at about 3:15ish p.m. Although eclipses occur every 18 months, the next solar eclipse to cross the contiguous United States will not be until August 23, 2044, and the totality will be in North Dakota and Montana before it moves north into Canada. Another solar eclipse, however, will have, another one won't have Pennsylvania in the totality again until September 14th, 2099, when Washington, Fayette, and Greene counties will all make the list for being in the path of the totality.
Well, I'll be sure to mark your calendar.
And I'll make it a footnote in the will so the kids don't forget.
All right, this seems like a great time for us to just stop.
Yeah, let's get Mary and Diane back out here to help lighten up the mood.
Last year, I didn't get a chance to talk about, in our Valentine's episode, nonfiction books on the topic of romance. We've been updating in this section in the stacks, and I'd like to tell you a couple of call numbers, Dewey call numbers, to direct you to those areas. We've got 306.81, which is marriage and long-term relationships, and you'll find books about dating at 646.77.
Oh God, aren't you glad not to have to worry about dating anymore? It's a cruel world out there, Mary.
Yes, it is. You know, I'm so glad we have husbands.
Yes.
They're good for something. And I would be pretty clueless about the latest technological influence on dating, Diane.
Yeah, I think it involves a lot of swiping, swipe left, swipe right, I'm not sure.
Well, let's take a look at what's new about love in the real world in the nonfiction section. Now, see, this is just what I'm talking about. Don't text your ex happy birthday, just send the text. Which one is it?
Never drunk text, I know that.
Oh, okay. And then I like the one on the end here, how to meet someone not online. Do they still do that?
Maybe if they come to a library program,
you can
they could meet their perfect match.
We're known for our love connections, especially the upcoming bird program.
Yes.
meet your soulmate at the library.
Meet your tweetheart at the library.
Get out of town.
No, for me, I won't be making my move. I'll be in the back reading Introvert's Guide to Dating. And we also got a new one, Christian Dating Adventures. I'm sure that will go out a lot. And then The 8 Rules of Love. One of my coworkers told me that this is a very good book. Okay. So on the serious side, that's a good one. Being serious, how to be an adult in relationships.
Pass.
And there's my demographic, Diane, love after 50.
Yay. Love after. That's when the date starts at 4, you're back home by 8 p.m.
Early bird
that would
special.
definitely be my kind of dating.
Yes.
Well, we'll be back in a few months with another edition of Booked Up. In the meantime, let us help you get booked up with new library programs, clubs, and books. The Peters Township Library is open Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Friday and Saturday from 9 to 4. The library is closed on Sundays and on Monday, February 19th for a staff in-service day. But don't worry, we're always open online at ptlibrary.org. See you at the library.